Hey again, travel bosses. I'm excited to bring you this week's sponsor, TripStreak, the smarter travel search. What I love about TripStreak is the ability to set your personal preferences to either have or avoid red-eye flights or have things like completely lie flat seats. So the next time you need to book a flight, check out tripstreak.com/travel-like-a-boss.
Welcome to the Travel Like a Boss podcast, the radio show all about traveling like a boss by being your own boss. Stay tuned for weekly interviews featuring guests that have built their own online businesses. If you would like to have access to our entire back catalog, visit travellikeabosspodcast.com for instant access. And here's your host, Johnny FD.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 158 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm back here with Eric Lafleche.
Hey, Johnny, how's it going?
In the flesh.
How you doing again?
Yeah, good. So Eric was on episode 135, and we talked about him quitting his corporate job, or leaving his corporate job at Anheuser-Busch, was it?
Yeah.
And becoming a nomad and traveling and doing all these cool things.
Yep.
So the reason why I wanted to have him back on was we met up here in Bali, and he's done so much since.
Yeah, man.
He's been... Where have you been since that?
Since Chiang Mai, when we first met, I spent an additional month there before going back to the States for Christmas to see the family for a quick week before jumping on a plane down to South America in January, where I basically hostel jumped, hitchhiked, and got Airbnbs from Patagonia, Argentina, all the way up to Colombia for 3 months. And yeah, man, so that was January, February, March, and in March, flew back to the United States, opened a couple Airbnbs, and then flew over to Bali.
So when I was looking at what episode you were on before, and you said it was like 100 something, I was like, no, I think it was before that. I think it was like episode 70.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah, it feels like a while since we've done that podcast.
It feels like it literally feels like a year and a half or 2 years, but it hasn't been.
Yeah, I feel like we've been friends for much longer than. I mean, it's been 6 months now that we've really been talking. So,
it's
but
weird.
It feels much longer than that.
Yeah, I feel we have a very intimate relationship.
Yeah, man. And it's funny because it's only been 9 or 10 months since I left the corporate world, but it's felt like 2 or 3 years, man. It felt like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and you don't look like the corporate bum at all anymore.
No, wearing my beanie, growing out my hair, bathing suits all the time. Yeah, it's not corporate anymore at all.
Yeah, so just to clarify, Eric's not wearing a bathing suit. He's wearing like board shorts.
Board short. Well, it doubles as a bathing suit.
Bathing suit sounds like a one-piece swimwear for women in their 50s.
Well, you never know on the day. But we have a giant pool here in the villa, so it's always nice to have some kind of easy access to the pool without worrying about it.
I was actually very impressed when I showed up at Eric's place. We've been hanging out in Bali for a couple of days now, but right when I first walked in, I was like, fuck, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. My friend found it before we came out. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 stories, has a pool. We have a dog that just comes and chills named Buddy, who's amazing.
His name's not actually Buddy.
No, we gave him the name Buddy because we didn't know what to call him. So he's just hanging around. So it's a great place, man, and it's not that expensive at all.
So what's crazy is this is the type of place that I wanted to find before I came here. I had mistakenly gave Chris the what do you call it? That was his job.
Yeah,
that was his responsibility to find it. He never found a place.
Yeah, we got this last minute. So my friend Ray was leaving because you have to do a visa run every month or so when you're in Bali, and he was leaving to go to Malaysia, and it was his last day, and he'd been looking for a week for a villa, and the agent we were working with at the last hour showed us this, and we just grabbed it as quickly as we could. So it worked out perfectly.
So this is in like literally the best neighborhood. It's like 1 block away from basically the one street where all the restaurants are.
Yeah, exactly. We can walk to anything from here. It's amazing. I love it. And the beach is only 4 minutes motorbike ride. Any working space or cafe is very close with fast internet, so it's perfect.
So for you guys, if you guys don't can't imagine what it looks like, it basically looks like what you would think a villa looks like almost kind of like Bali mansion.
Yeah. My friend described it to us as a Pablo Escobar style mansion villa in Bali when he sent us the pictures. And it's probably a mini version of that. Open air. There's not many walls. Everything is easy to see. There's statues everywhere, plants everywhere, trees, stone walkway to the pool. And the bedrooms are huge and the bathrooms are just crazy.
And what are you guys paying?
We pay about 6 million Indonesian a person, which comes to about $500 a month.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great value.
Yeah.
Amazing value. It's furnished. It's month to month.
Yeah, everything's included, the Wi-Fi, electricity, everything like that. So
what, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So
it's a smoking deal.
Yeah, it was a great deal.
But I guess, I mean, what do you think the best way to find a place like this would be?
There's like 2 or 3 Facebook groups in the Canggu, Bali community that have real estate agents that you can reach out to that will basically take a commission from the owner to help you find it. So that's probably the best way. You can go online, but usually you're going to pay more on Airbnbs or any of the online websites than you would if you get a local real estate agent helping you out. So go on those communities, and that's probably the best way to get it. Yeah,
we took a look on Airbnb, and everything was overpriced.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, you know what? This is a good segue because David Vu was on the podcast where he talked about Airbnb arbitrage.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are doing it now.
Yeah, man, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I do it now, and coming to Bali, bro, that's all I could think about. Renting this place out, you probably could get $50 to $125 a night on these rooms.
You know what? The funny thing was, his episode was the one immediately after yours, episode 136.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I took his course. I met him in person with you when we went to the movies back in Thailand. And then I started taking action with a partner in the U.S. because I don't want to be in the U.S. So he does the searching. I do a lot of the financing in the back end. And we are starting to open up hopefully one a month right now.
That's cool. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know you. So you took his Airbnb course.
Yeah, I did, man. Actually, I think you mentioned it to me during the theater. Then I went on your blog. I clicked on the link and then went over.
Well, thank you for using my link. I appreciate that.
And then I took it in like 24 hours. I put it on 2x speed and just went through all the lessons.
Wow, that's cool.
Sent it to my friend, who's my partner now. He went through everything. And then we started basically isolating communities that we care about, using Everbooked, which he talks about, to really find the opportunities in the communities that will be high occupancy.
That's dope.
Yeah, and we started in Denver where my friend lives. So yeah.
That's cool. The funny thing is, I was there while they were filming that course.
Oh, really?
It was actually the first time I ever met David in person.
Oh, nice.
It was in LA, and I forgot why I was back. I think it was just to visit family or something. But he's like, oh yeah, if you want a place to stay in LA, I got a couple of Airbnbs. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah. And what he didn't tell me was that during the day when I was out, he wanted to film in the Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
To make this course. And this is just David's personality where like he's just like multitasker. He's always fucking doing something. Like he has so many different businesses now.
Yeah.
And even like, you know, just living or chilling. He's like, why would we just leave it empty? Or like, why not just like, you know, film a course while you're there?
That's amazing. So when I was watching the course, do you remember which one it is in the course itself that you stayed in?
It was in Anaheim, somewhere near Disneyland.
Okay.
And there was 2 bedrooms, 2 like dual masters.
Okay.
Really nice bathrooms. And one thing that I thought was really smart was under the queen bed, there was a pull-out bed under the bed. And they call it like a truncated bed or something.
Oh, so you could get some more people sleeping in that room.
So, yeah. And without making it look like bunk beds or like having 2 beds in the room.
That's amazing, man.
So little tips like that, I thought were really smart.
I mean, we were taking tips like that. And then one thing we did for our business is we've built Amazon wish lists, and my aunt is an interior designer. So I'm actually going to be working with her this summer to build out a wish list on Amazon of furniture and equipment that we can just hit purchase. So when we lease a new property, within 2 days, everything arrives and we can set it up. And it's still a very good interior design. We like his idea of getting an interior designer in each city, but we don't have the flexibility as much as him with his team. So we're trying to streamline that on Amazon so we can just hit buy
That's so
and go.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's really good.
Click my Amazon link before you buy on.
Yeah, man, for sure.
That'd be dope. Actually, so if you guys want to check out the course, I'll have Anthony put a link to his Airbnb course in the show notes. This is episode 1 58. So how long ago did you guys start it?
We literally started it before I came here. So after South America, I flew home in the beginning of April, and then I flew directly to New York and then to Denver, met up with my friend Ethan, and we found the apartments that we were looking at, and we started right then. So this was probably, we have had it up for about 2.5 weeks, and it's already completely profitable. So the day that I launched the first unit on Airbnb, it booked 4 people within 24 hours.
Wow, that's crazy.
In that month. So it was just like already paying back what we were investing. And now I think we're almost completely booked for 2.5 months. And we are doing, so we're doing really good. And we're just looking at what cities we care about. Denver's great. We're going to have a few units there. We're looking at Seattle. We're looking at San Diego, Miami, Boston. Actually, basically every place I like being. So I have a place to go to. That's more the vision, right? I'll have a place I can go stay at in those cities. So that's kind of how we're approaching it.
That's crazy. So are you guys just putting the lease on like under your personal name, or how does that work?
We're starting with our personal name. We got our LLC up and running, and then we're working towards figuring out how we can get the lease under the business. Now, that's going to be determinant on the owner and the apartment and the complex. Some people won't allow that. Some people will. Once we have the reputation like David does, and you can show the properties, you can show, hey, look, we clean this every time a guest leaves. We have a mechanic. We have everything to make sure this place is
Oh, so the apartment buildings know you're Airbnb-ing it out.
Some do. Yeah, some do. Not all of them. The one that we had, the 2 that we have in Denver, they know, they allow it. It's in the contract.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, we found a place that has in the contract they were allowed to Airbnb.
That's so insane.
Yeah, which is very rare. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that we got really lucky in the beginning.
So, I mean, was that just like, did you just happen to stumble on that, or were you looking specifically for places that would allow you to Airbnb?
So there's a few different ways that we started to look. What I did is I looked for like key calves, which are like lock boxes.
So other people are already doing it.
And I found people that were doing it through those key calves and asked them where they were doing it in Denver. And that allowed me to get an idea from other Airbnbs. Here's what's working, right?
How would you find the key cap? I mean, how would you? You just drive by and look for it, but then how would you contact the owner?
So basically, when you go on to KeyCalf's website, you can figure out where the KeyCalfs are, and then you can figure out which buildings are associated with those KeyCalfs, and then you can ultimately get to which places are more lenient on allowing you to rent.
That's
some
crazy.
KeyCalfs are in like coffee shops, some are in apartment buildings, some are in like 7-Elevens.
So a key cap. Can you describe that for people that don't know?
Yeah, so David talks a lot about lock boxes, right? So putting a lock box on the house or putting it wherever. Key calves are like giant lock boxes for multiple keys. So you pay a subscription service, and it allows you to integrate it with Airbnb. And then people can, when they rent your unit, KeyCalf will send them the code automatically. So when they get there, they can get the key. They can go to the other building they need to go to with the instructions, and then they have the key until they leave and they drop it off.
That's so smart.
Yeah. So it's all over the world. So you're basically going to get access to it. A lot in the US right now. They're starting to expand it in the countries.
So I have this love and hate relationship with Airbnb.
Yeah.
So first, I think the reason why I don't like it is because it really is overpriced. Like when you're staying there, maybe not compared to a hotel, because that's why people still do it. Yeah. Especially if you need the space or you need a living room or kitchen, whatever. But it is vastly overpriced compared to what the local rent should be, especially if you're staying a month longer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And there's arguments, and I actually think it's true, that it really is driving up the price of rent.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Because you have all these apartments going to Airbnbs that are driving up the cost, less units on the market, more visitors, hotel occupancy is going down. So that's why you see all these fights against Airbnb. The same thing with Uber. I think for the most part, the good thing about Airbnb, especially when it comes to families, right? If you have a family and you're booking a hotel, you have 2 beds in that room usually, a desk, a little bit of a dresser, and a kind of a bathroom. So you're always squeezed together in that living situation. When you're at like David's Airbnb, like you said, 2 master bedrooms, a living room, a big kitchen, you can spread out as if you're at your house. So that's why people are willing to spend a little bit more for that convenience and that comfort, I think.
So you don't think hotels would be able to just have more like apartment suites? Is it just not cost effective for them?
It's always been their upsell, right? So they've always had, book our cheapest deluxe room. They call it deluxe even though it's basic. And then they at the hotel, you can ask for upgrades, will cost you X amount of dollars a month. So it's always been styled that way. It's interesting in Asia and in Japan and Hong Kong, you will see a lot of mini suites popping up and suite style hotels that they're only suites, right? So I think there's going to be a movement towards that over time to compete. But the deluxe upsell has always been in place for hundreds of years. So it's kind of a hard thing to get over as a hotel executive, I think.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that upsell is purely just like a profit move for them, or if it's really because it takes up so much more space and maybe doesn't get rented as often in the past because people didn't really, care for it.
Yeah.
That it just wasn't cost effective.
Yeah. And
I'm wondering now with Airbnb and people kind of getting used to that model, if it's going to be, as you said, kind of more of a standard.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If you look like you're going to Barcelona tomorrow, yeah. And I stayed at the Hilton in Barcelona many times. And at that Hilton, when I was staying, I used to be, because I worked in corporate, we talked about this, a diamond member at Hilton. So I always got free upgrades, which is another reason why I have suites to treat their members at return. And when I would get upgraded, I would go from a deluxe to either an executive one bedroom or a mini suite style, which was pretty nice. But the people that booked the suites got a chance to get upgraded to their penthouse on the top floor, which was $4,000 a night.
Wow.
And extremely expensive, so they're making a ton of profit off that room, no matter how much space it takes up. So I'm thinking that you'll see an adaptation towards the type of hotels that are more suite focused. And you can see that in a lot of the new Hilton brands that are coming out, or Virgin Hotels, or any of those. You can start seeing that trend. But it'll be quite interesting to see what happens over the next few years.
What's funny is I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that feels this way, but I actually like the normal hotel rooms, and I actually don't like being upgraded to suites.
Why? You get too much room, Johnny? Oh, I don't know what to do with myself.
No, seriously, it's like, okay, so hear me out, guys, because I think people are thinking like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
All right. So unlike getting like upgraded to like business class or something, on a plane, which I would love to do, at a hotel, let's say I have a queen size bed, right? Yeah. I'm still gonna have a queen size bed in a suite. Yeah. So when I'm sleeping, the comfort is exactly the same.
Yes.
It's really just like during the day when so you have a kitchen, you have a living room, you have all this other stuff, right? Yep. But when I'm at a hotel, especially before when I used to have an apartment, or like I used to have a nice condo.
Yeah.
When I would go somewhere and get checked into a suite, I felt like I was just in someone else's nice condo.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I don't want to look at a kitchen. I don't want to fucking even be tempted to cook.
Yeah. I
don't want to sit on a couch. I want to lay in this bed, turn on the TV, have everything just right there.
Yeah.
And just and feel like I'm in a hotel room.
Do you know, it's interesting because I agree with you for the most part. So I was in the Philippines working with my VAs 2 weeks ago, and I booked what they call the hotel, what they call Red Planet, which is literally a queen size bed in a very squished room. Because every morning I'd wake up, go to the gym, eat, work for 12 or 14 hours with my team, go back to the hotel and pass out. I didn't need anything else. The part where I disagree with you is if I'm taking a week off and I'm relaxing and I'm most likely going to read books or just chill, go to the pool, go sleep, go read a book in my room. I like the bigger space because it feels like I'm not condensed during my vacation. In a Red Planet, I would literally have a bed to sit on and nothing else. In a suite hotel in Hilton, you have that entire luxury feel. Everything's a little more relaxed. And I'll tell you a story. Once, when I was back in the corporate world, because I had that diamond card, I would make it a thing when I went to Hilton's to try to get upgraded, right? So I would talk to them and I would try to convince them that I needed a suite. And because I was a diamond member, most of the time they would oblige.
Ooh.
But there's this time I went to Miami with my dad. I was looking to buy a condo in Miami, which I wish I did now because the value has gone up 50% and I could have Airbnb'd it, but I never did. And there was a Hilton right on the beach. And I wanted to treat my dad because my dad's done everything. First night, they put us in this regular room with 2 beds on the 30th floor out of 34. And they said the next day they're going to upgrade us to a suite. Well, we were on the balcony that night. It was a beautiful view of the water. The next day we show up to go to our new room. It's on the 2nd floor. You can hear the street noise. There's no view of the beach. So we kind of threw away the beautiful view that we had for the room, the space, which was totally not worth it. So it's really, for me, now I would never really care where I am in the hotel world, if it's a suite or deluxe. But before I was a little naive.
So I'm curious, what other kind of tips do you have to try to score that free upgrade?
Well, there's There's a ton of different ways. I do a lot of travel hacking, which is basically getting different credit cards to give you points. We talked about this. I get the priority pass so I can stay in lounges. My friend Derek, he has a program called Derek'sMethod.com, kind of like Antoine's method. And he talks about basically how you can use credit cards to get gold status at Hilton, at big hotels around the world, and your priority pass for when you're flying. So you can take off, stay in the lounge for a few hours, have a nice dinner or breakfast. When you land and you get to your hotel, you use your points that you got from the card to book the hotel. And then since you're gold status, you're most likely automatically going to get upgraded. And you can do this all with credit cards, right? So for the most part for free, which is extremely powerful. So that's what I do now. So I still have gold status at Hilton. I have different statuses at different hotels and my priority pass. So I still have a little bit. I fly economy, but for the most part, I have some kind of luxury in the area that I landed.
So for me, hotels, I'm like, I can stay in like pretty basic places. I don't really give a crap.
Yeah.
But when I'm on the flight, that's when I want. That's when I want like luxury. That's when I want to fly business class.
Yeah.
So I'm the exact opposite. Because like I figure, like even like I don't want to say the jankiest room. I don't want to stay like the cheapest piece of crap anymore. Like nowadays, I just refuse to stay at Motel 6s.
Yeah.
But I'll stay at like whatever the next step up is, right?
Yeah.
Because I get the same size bed. I'm still comfortable. I just lay down. As long as it's clean, it's quiet, and it's I'm fine with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But on planes, that's when I want that upgrade.
And that's when it really costs you, Johnny. Like the upgrade from a deluxe to a suite at the hotel might cost you $50, $75 a night. Your upgrade to business class, depending on where you're flying, is going to cost you $1,000 each way, which is just
easily. Like it's usually 4 times the cost of economy.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I threw it out the window for me. Every once in a while, when I have a point count that's super high and a business class seat that's not that bad, I'll buy the business class seat with my points. It doesn't cost anything. And like David, who runs his eBay store, gets probably hundreds of thousands of points that he can put towards business class seats. So like if you have that stuff, it's great. But $3,000-$4,000 for a flight on business class,
it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So the thing I miss most about running my dropshipping stores is the $20,000 credit card bills I would get every month.
Yeah.
And all the points that came with it.
Yeah.
Because that's the way I've been able to fly business class these last 2 years. And it sucks, but I'm here to announce that tonight I'm going to Spain. I'm actually flying out in a few hours.
Yeah.
And I'm flying economy for the first time in 2 years.
Oh man, good luck. As my elite corporate friends used to call it, cattle class, because everyone's squished in the back like cattle. God. So good luck, my friend. It's a big adjustment if you haven't been used to it for a while.
It's gonna be crazy, and I was tempted to spend money on and just say, let me just pay for the upgrade.
Yep.
But then I was like, you know what? I need to watch my money now that I'm not working. I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna retire and really not work again, I have to be able to just get used to a normal life.
Yeah.
And I think some people are listening, thinking, and I used to think the exact same way. I was like, if you can send me to Spain for the summer or Europe and travel and go to all these cool places, go to Bali, I'll fly in cargo class if needed. I'll just put me on the plane anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think the other reason why I'm doing it is to kind of reset my expectations a bit. Which
is amazing. It's the perfect thing to do. You wrote a blog post, it was a couple of weeks ago, I think, about how you've retired, right? And you have saved up enough money so your investments, like you talk about on Invest Like a Boss, can actually make enough income to support your lifestyle, right? And if you take your standards to a level where you basically can utilize economy, you can utilize Airbnbs, staying in Thailand and Bali, you can retire off that money without working another day. And a lot of people don't understand that if they get to a certain level of savings, just their investment income alone will allow them to live a great lifestyle. But you don't get business class on that. But it's still like, if you put yourself in a minimalistic lifestyle that can get on economy, that can book Airbnbs or local apartments, you're going to be able to live a really good life very quickly without working too hard if you don't want to, or working on what you care about for the rest of your life.
That definitely makes sense. And I think that's what I'm going to be experimenting with, at least for the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of which, so I didn't realize how expensive Barcelona was.
Yeah.
Because this was a last minute trip. I think we just booked the flight maybe 5 days ago or something. And then we started looking at hotels pretty much 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Everything is booked. We wanted to get a 1 month rental in Barcelona, which turns out, besides Airbnb, it's pretty much impossible. And that's why I'm happy Airbnb is there, because it shows how big of a lack of, there's a huge like gap in the market for monthly
rentals
that are furnished.
Yeah.
And I think this would be better for everyone and the economy and keep everyone sane, and it'll keep rent prices stable, is if Airbnb was only allowed to do monthly rentals.
Well, that would kill a lot of their business, man. But if there was a service that was big enough to support monthly rentals that was like Airbnb, I think that would be extremely beneficial. Because I run into the same problem too. Like, we wanted to get a longer term, like 2-week place when we were in Rio during our trip at the beginning of the week and the beginning of the year. And the only options we had were Airbnb 2 weeks. There was no apartments that we could get off Airbnb market. The hotels, because it was Carnival down there, were through the roof. There was nothing that we could do from that. And it just became a problem over a problem over a problem. And if you don't come to Asia like Bali or Chiang Mai, where are set up for that kind of lifestyle where you can get smaller leases, you're going to have problems not only in Barcelona, but in London and every European country you go to, a lot of countries in the United States. You won't be able to get the same flexibility that you get out here.
It's crazy that like places like in Asia allow or set up for monthly rentals. I wonder how that became. Like, was it just people were asking for it, or they were smart enough to have that be an option? Like, I don't get it. Yeah,
I mean, the only thing that comes to mind for me is a lot of these economies started as tourism economies, right? So they started with tourism as one of their main income sources for the country, Bali especially, and different areas of Thailand. And then they started finding all these people that wanted to stay for longer periods than a couple hotel nights. So then the market catered to that specifically. And it just kept evolving around the needs of the individuals that discovered the flexibility and their passion for those areas, right? So I think it started from a tourist perspective and kind of blew up. But you don't see a lot of Europeans or Asians going to the United States and saying, oh man, I want to live here in this one spot for a month. They're going to go bounce around from place to place, try to see 10 states in like 2 weeks and do that kind of stuff and then go back home. And if they do come and live because of their visa restrictions, they get married or whatever, then they get long-term leases. But out here, people come out for a couple weeks and like, oh, maybe I want to stay here for a month, in one spot and relax and do yoga and go do CrossFit and
that definitely makes sense. Yeah. I think that especially with the kind of the rise of remote workers and digital nomads, and also just long-term travel as a whole.
Yeah.
This is a hole in the market that needs to be filled throughout the world. In the US, in Spain.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think this is the future.
I agree. Like, another big hub that is probably the best example that I can think of right off the top of my head is Medellin. So Medellin is actually one of the destinations in South America for digital nomads, and it's still very difficult to get a month-to-month. Well, the language barrier is one thing, but also on top, they just aren't set up for month to month. And the ones that you do find that are like executive suites that have all the stuff set up for you, they're 3 times the cost of the apartment market average, right? So you're looking, instead of $700, it's $2,100 for those executive apartments.
Maybe our business should be setting up executive suites that are actually apartments that are arbitraged.
Yeah.
Because seriously, like, I'm looking on Airbnb now, and there is nothing available for the next month.
Yeah.
And it's because there's tons of places available, but people have like 2 days booked randomly, next weekend, and then 1 day booked, 3 weekends from now.
Yep.
And it just screws up the whole monthly rental.
The thing that is starting to pop up, and I think that's a good business and people are tapping into it. If you look up or go to Founder.house, it's these communities that they're building in New York, in Denver and Boston that are houses aimed towards entrepreneurs, developers, graphic designers that live together, either in a room. You get like your own room, and then the common space is the same, or you get like a bunk bed style, like a hostel. So they're going that way. And then there's We Live, which is the WeWork living business, which is starting to grow where you can do month to month. So there's a little bit, but it's not anywhere near where it needs to be in order to support the lifestyle that you and I live, which is really disappointing for me because it limits. That's why I'm doing the Airbnb business, honestly. Like, if I have a place in Miami, I can go there for a month and just take my Airbnb off of Airbnb for a month and stay there and then put it back on. So that's kind of my mentality around it for the US. And then even here in Bali, we could rent this villa and put up an Airbnb
and you
while
can
we're gone.
probably make double. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like if you rented this place for a year and then have it, you know what you should do? You should rent this place for a year.
Yeah.
And then Airbnb it out when you're gone, and then let me stay in it next time I come there.
For sure, man. Anytime.
That's cool. Like, you know what? Like, I think one of the reasons why I like hanging out and talking to you is you just are always kind of thinking of the next business, the next kind of thing.
Man, there's so much opportunity. What I love about hanging out with you and our community and Chris and everybody is we just get to bounce ideas off of each other all the time. You know, so you sold your businesses, you have mental space in the upcoming months to start something anew. You know, and all the idea exchange that we have that can turn in within a week into a business that we're starting and blowing up, right? So it's just, that's why this community matters to me so much. And I try to explain it to my friends. Like, if you want to be in a mindset of creation, if you want to be in a mindset of generation and wealth, you need to be around other people with that same mindset and who really care about building something. Like, I could retire now too. My corporate money, if I stay out in Asia, I could retire now too with my investments. I love your podcast, Johnny, because a lot of those principles my dad taught me when I was younger, and then you just expand on it with different founders, different technologies that come into it. So the things I'm not researching can come into my life. But that gives me the freedom to chase after the opportunity, and that's why I'm constantly thinking. That's
cool. I'm glad you like the other podcast. Actually, what's funny is when Sam asked me to start Invest Like a Boss with him, I didn't think there was going to be that much overlap between the Nomad scene and the investment scene. I thought investors would be people with corporate jobs or people that are a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out like there's a lot of people like you and me that got into the Nomad scene, you know, started making money and was like, all right, well, what should I do with this money now? Because my expenses are low, so I have extra income. How should I invest it? What should I do with it?
Exactly. And it's funny, and this is just an average that is taken over many years of looking at the market. But depending on where you invest, on average, for every dollar you put in 10 years later, it doubles, right? And that's without, if you use any of the automated service you talked about, that's on average. So let's say you put 10K in, 10 years, it's 20K. 10 years after that, it's 40K. And 10 years after that, it's 80K. So in 30 years, your 10K became 80K. Like, just those little concepts, you don't even have to know anything else about investing. Just knowing putting money towards the market is going to, over time, grow your wealth. Will hopefully get people to start, because I have to say that probably like 75% of my wealth has been generated from investments.
That's cool.
Over the past
I like that.
10, 15 years.
And you're lucky that your dad taught you these things when you were young.
Yeah.
It kind of instilled in your mind.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there that they're in their 30s and they like don't even know the basics. They haven't even thought about it.
Yeah.
And then when they think about it, it's either too late or they end up getting ripped off by some mutual fund manager that takes a 3% fee and puts them in a bunch of BS.
Exactly. That he takes a 3% fee, and those mutual funds pay him out as well. So he's getting a big profit while you're hardly getting any return. I think when it was 15 or 16, my dad gave me this little book. It was like 50 words, 50 pages.
50-word book.
50-word book. Invest money. No, and I struggled reading when I was a kid, so it took me a while to read that. And
how old are you?
I'm 27.
No.
How old was I? I was 15. I had a
Wow.
reading and writing like learning curve that took a lot of time for me to overcome. I was a visual learner, audio learner, and my reading and writing skills were lower.
That's cool to hear that you can go through that and still be successful today.
Yeah, I mean, I try reading a book a week now, and it still takes me a while. I try to speed read or get better at it.
So you're not in the book a day?
No, I was Ty Lopez. No, man. I had mentor box. No, just kidding. This is not a paid advertisement. No, I'm not in the book a day, but I like trying to educate myself with a course a week and a book a week.
That's actually a lot, though.
Yeah, a lot of Udemy courses. I mean, if you take in a lot of information while you're working, it's going to give you new ideas. It's going to level you up over time, and it's just going to be so much more beneficial. I feel like a lot of people who hated college or whatever just stopped deciding to read or learn because they're like, oh, I already did that. Now I'm just going to execute.
But do you feel like by consuming that much information that you don't have time to actually take action with what you learn from it?
For the most part, the courses I take directly relate to the business I'm working in. So let's say I'm working on a blog, affiliate blog, and I'm trying to automate the email sequence to get better upsells and cross-sells and so on. I'm taking courses about that specifically. So as I'm working on it, I have new ideas coming in from those courses. I try to avoid, unless it's I try to avoid courses that I'm not immediately involved with. And I think Pat Flynn talks about the style of learning at the point of the need. So waiting to learn something until you need it and then executing against that.
I like that. That's almost like Walmart's just-in-time delivery program with their inventory.
Yeah, exactly. So you get everything when you need it, and then you're executing against it. So as you execute against it, you're learning, and then all of that information that you're obtaining is going to be reusable later on during a new project.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. You know what's crazy is I think there's like a big trend with, or correlation, I guess, that pretty much every single successful person I know takes courses and reads books. And you know, books are a whole thing. I think everyone should read books, right?
Yeah.
But like takes courses versus the kind of the whole. There's a huge argument online where people are like, "No, fuck courses. All courses are ripoffs. Everyone's just trying to scam you out of money. All these course creators. Anyone who doesn't know how to do anything, they teach instead." Yeah. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think there's a lot of courses that you get that can be ripoffs. I never have bought like a $3,000 or $5,000 course, right? Anything under $999 is good enough for me. Like,
okay,
you know, like that's the highest I'll go. Like Neil Patel's course, for example, is like $999, and it's a really.
Oh, when he said $999, I thought you meant like $9.99.
No, like $999.
Okay.
And those are the beefy courses that give you a lot of information, weeks and weeks worth of information. And it's basically distilling someone that's built multiple businesses into a course that you can refer back to over and over again. Plus with Udemy, for example, you can get courses from $10 to $50 on average that are really powerful. And what's great about them is you get like a 3 to 6 hour course. You put it on 2x the speed. You get it done in 1 to 3 hours, and you retain that information. If you're like, oh, what was that he said about X, Y, and Z? You go back into it really quick and you rewatch that one lesson, and it's really good information. So there are courses that I've taken that did nothing for me. Don't get me wrong. But the majority of them, especially if you do your research ahead of time, you look at reviews, you look at your blog, for example, or on Udemy, like the bestsellers are usually really strong courses that are going to give you information that will help you grow.
That definitely makes sense. Well, I mean, the way I always thought about courses is I think every single course out there has a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Yep.
So I always think like, you know what, like if it sounds like something that you can get benefit from and someone said it's, you know, someone recommended it, just take it. And if it sucks, don't be afraid to ask for the refund. Yeah.
And what's a lot of people, some people are afraid of those guarantees as if they aren't actual guarantees. But there's two things that go in your favor. One, if you buy from Udemy, they're trying to keep they're trying to make sure that you're happy. So they're definitely going to take care of you. They're a big company. And then most of these courses accept Stripe, for example. Like they use Stripe as a backend, as a payment processor, or PayPal. And in the terms and conditions of a merchant on PayPal or Stripe, they are required to oblige what they write is their refund policy. And in most cases require some sort of refund policy. So if the course owner will not refund you and you're unhappy, you can go to Stripe or PayPal and say, these guys did not refund me. Here's the evidence that I bought it this day. I emailed them this day and they said no. And then the company will not only help you get a refund like PayPal or Stripe, but they'll also mark against the owner of the course. So the course owner does not want that negative strike, which could shut down their payment processor.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because like Earnest Affiliate is on SamCard that's attached to Stripe. And then if somebody wants a refund, they don't even have to ask for it. I think just in their welcome email, there's going to be a link saying, you know, request a refund.
Yeah.
And it's all automated, you know? So when people ask for a refund, I want to know, like, you know, why, right? Like, you know, this is something we can do better with the course. But then I just tell them, like, oh, yeah, just find your welcome email and click the link there.
Yeah.
And luckily, there's not, you know, I don't get that many refunds for Earnest Affiliate. But it's like, to me, I'm like, if I bought a course and I really didn't learn anything from it, I would have no hesitation to get a refund. The only things I'm always scared of are the auto rebills.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of those are hard to cancel.
Yeah. And there in the US, there's a couple services that can help you with that. There's a service called Truebill.com, I believe. And it's a free service, and they will have their team go after the people that are billing you until it's canceled. And that's completely free. It's an app on your phone. I have it. It tracks all my subscriptions so I can shut them off very quickly.
That's cool.
And it reminds me, oh man, I subscribed to like 12 things that I'm not using. So like I use Truebill to make sure if any of that ever happens that they go after on my behalf and I don't even have to think about it.
Is it TRU or TRUE?
TRUE, I believe. I can pull it up on my phone right now.
Okay. Well, so the only thing I don't like about the way that Tai Lopez does things. Oh yeah, it is. It's TRUEBIL.com.
Yeah.
I haven't used it, but I'm gonna check it out because that sounds cool.
Yeah.
So the only thing I don't like about Tai Lopez and his style is he does the automatic rebill of his kind of initial product is $67, and it's that 67 steps program or PDF, right? And before I talk trash about him, I always want to do my research. I'm like, I don't care if somebody's marketing is super cheesy or not. That's a personality thing. That's I personally don't dislike his personality. I dislike his marketing. Yeah. But if what he teaches is great, then who am I to judge, right?
Yeah.
So I did some research and I found out his actual PDF is not bad. It has some pretty generic information, but it's good. Overall good information. It's probably worth $67. However, what to me feels not authentic or a little bit scammy is to get that $67 PDF, you have to enroll. It's a forced rebill of $67
a month.
And most people that sign up for that either don't know how to cancel, can cancel, or just don't even realize that that's happening.
Yeah.
And I doubt that the information that you're getting every month is worth $67 a month in perpetuities.
No,
forever.
No way. That kind of stuff to me is a course funnel that is completely broken. I understand the course funnels that charge you $67 for your PDF run, and then as soon as you buy it, like, oh, for $249 you can also get this, and this is the additional information that you get, and then they'll try to cross-sell you something associated with that, and you end up walking away with spending $500-$600, but you've seen exactly what you're buying, even though you were originally thinking about buying the 16.7. In a situation where you're just getting rebuilt, man, come on.
And I think that's fine. Like if somebody walked into a grocery store saying, I just need milk, and then next to it there's eggs, and then they walk down, they're like, oh shit, maybe I get some bread too. Then maybe they're giving out samples of some pastrami. You buy some pastrami, and then at the counter they're like, do you want to buy this candy bar? And your bill ends up being $300.
Yeah.
At Whole Foods.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fine because you're getting value in the product. Or if you go into a clothing store, same thing. You go in just for a shirt, and you end up with pants, a belt, some socks, and something else, and your bill is $1,000. You know what? That's fine because you're getting that amount of product. But what those auto rebills feel like is you go and buy a shirt, and without them even telling you, they're charging you that same cost of the shirt every month and just sending you another shirt, and you're like, I didn't order this.
Yeah.
I don't even need another shirt.
The only way, a recurring bill that is happening, like a Dollar Shave Club, for example, perfectly fine. If you're just getting random content you never cared about, not my style. And just going off of what you said about Tai Lopez's marketing, a lot of people don't like him, especially in our community. But the thing is, there's millions of people that do, and he's an amazing marketer. I want to just throw that out there. Like, he is well known because of his marketing skills. Whether he booking.com, his mansion, and records in it once a week, and puts his courses out in a scheming way, he's a really good marketer, and people follow him because of that talent and the people behind him that helps him market.
Oh. So do you think that he books it just for a day to record, or do you think he listens like the whole month?
I think I don't know. I have no information and or facts about this, but I would not be surprised if he books it for X amount of time while he's recording his videos and goes in there, takes care of all of his content, schedules all his meetings for those days, and then leaves. I think that's probably what he does. I could see myself eventually, if I wanted to become a Tai Lopez of Bali, I mean, we could just rent this villa out and completely record everything in here and just get a really nice decked out Ducati in the front or something instead of our mopeds. So he's a good marketer. I just don't like his stuff.
It'd be freaking hilarious. Just to troll him, I should rent that exact mansion and then record a bunch of videos saying, hey guys, I'm so rich, I bought Tai Lopez's mansion. I'm here, check it out.
I'm here in my villa, reading my books.
Yeah, I'm going to piss on all his books and on his bed.
Oh my God, John.
Just have that whole video of me just trolling him.
I remember when you put out a YouTube video about your Lamborghini that you rented. It would just be the next level of that.
I know. Yeah, my whole life would just be trolling Tai. now that I got all this free time, now that I'm retired.
Talk about scam alerts. I heard that you found something this week that was quite crazy.
Yeah, so I got served a Facebook ad. Facebook ad popped up in my newsfeed called Americans Serving Americans. And I couldn't tell. I really genuinely could not tell if if it was kind of like this like spammy MLM type thing, or if it was some kind of like legit charity.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept showing up. So after like the 5th time I saw it, I was like, I'm just gonna click on it. And I watched the video, and it was really well produced. It was this it was this kind of half screen with Martin Luther King Jr. giving a speech about poverty and how it's holding back America.
Yeah.
And then this other guy, this black guy named Dave Dave Ashby or something. I don't know. Not Dave. Not the bulletproof executive guy, but Dave
something.
Asshole. And it's him basically kind of tailing off of Dave Ashby. That's his name. Kind of tailing off of Martin Luther King, and then he kind of like tails off of Shark Tank and all these other kind of very legitimate things. And I was like, and they're not selling anything. They're just having you join this movement, which is why Facebook is allowing the ads, because they're not actually selling anything yet.
Yeah.
But I watch all 4 videos, and they get cheesier and cheesier. And the thing is, it's taking me a while to even figure out if they are real or if they're staged. Because they have things like he's giving a talk in front of a bunch of people, or he's like on a bus, with a bunch of people wearing the ASA movement T-shirts, and it's a bunch of like old retirees and stuff. And I was like, I can't tell if this is real or fake, or what the intention is. But I had this kind of bad feeling about it. So I wasted like 3 hours going through their whole funnel. And finally, after watching all the videos, I had to take these quizzes. I had to join this thing. And then it was like, if you're ready to get started, you're all pumped up, you're all hyped up. They're like, buy our welcome starter kit. We'll send you the ASA hat and the T-shirt. It's $299.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's flag number 1. Like, why am I paying $299 for this welcome kit? And then what really got me, and I was like, this is definitely an MLM, is they started talking about how, this $299 is an investment because you can make up to $20,000 a year promoting his stuff.
Interesting. I'm going to have to read your whole blog post. I know you mentioned it during lunch, but it seems, I'm going to look into it myself, but it's interesting.
And, I just realized, I think, so I had embedded all his videos on my blog post, and it looks like he had either blocked my domain from displaying it, or he's taking down the videos or something, because they're not loading anymore.
Interesting.
Which is crazy. So, if you guys want to read that blog post, I'll have Anthony put it in the show notes, but you can just search for Americans Serving Americans scam or something, or just look on Johnny FD. I actually changed the date on the blog post, so it won't be the very first blog post on Johnny FD, just because I was like, what, I don't really want my readers like wasting time with this.
Yeah.
So it's more, I pushed it back a few months, so it's kind of just down on the page. So now it looks like it's published February 17th. Okay. And that way, someone searches for it, they'll find it. But
got it. Interesting. It's interesting to break down funnels like that. Yeah. Pretty advanced, it sounds like.
But this was really smart. This was the most like complicated, kind of in-depth sales funnel for MLM type business I've ever seen in my life.
The only other things I've seen, like, actually I haven't seen many on Facebook, obviously. It's just very rare for them to approve anything like that. So I'm going to read your blog post and look into it.
But what's crazy is he actually replied to me, wrote me this long, angry message on my Facebook wall, saying that he's, he's offended. This isn't an MLM, and this is a way for Americans to make money, from each other. And I was almost kind of like a small part of me was almost like, thinking like, oh man, maybe I should like give him the benefit of the doubt. But then I did some more research, and then he was super famous for these other 2 MLMs. In the past, there were definitely MLMs. It was like some penny quiz thing or some other BS. So now, after that, I was like, okay, like my assumptions were correct.
Okay. So Barcelona, man, what's the big plan? How long are you out there for?
I'm gonna be there for 1 month, and honestly, the only reason why I'm flying to Barcelona is because my visa is up, and originally I was going to fly and just basically do a visa run. Go to Singapore for a day, come back and spend another month in Bali. The reason why I decided not to do that is, first, Indonesia is, I don't know, I think like, here's the thing about Bali or Indonesia, and a lot of people say this, is it's a whirlwind, where if everything's like going well, it'll spiral you up the whirlwind and you'll be like, fuck, life is great. All these good things are going on and you only see the good things.
Yeah.
But then if things, you start seeing the bad things and start the negatives, then it spirals down quickly and you start seeing all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, while I'm here, the kind of that negative energy is getting to me where I start seeing all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And I recognize it, like, and here's an example is I was on the beach and I was looking and I was like, man, like, the sand here is so like ugly. Like it's like, it's like brown sand. There's trash everywhere. There's plastic that kind of, comes up everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's not like a nice beach like that you imagine like a tropical paradise to be. Yeah. But then I like just somebody had mentioned somewhere they're like that the sand may be brown, but there are these little specks that sparkle like diamonds in it. And I looked at the beach again and I was like, oh my God, I never even noticed that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, but you blocked it because of the negative feelings that you're having.
Yeah. Well, but at the same time, in reality, who's right or wrong? Like the beach really does have a bunch of trash on it.
Yeah.
But the beach also has all this beauty on it.
Yeah.
So part of it is what we choose to see.
Exactly.
And what we do see.
I just finished reading Man's Search for Meaning, which talks about logotherapy, and it's a really famous book by a gentleman who was in concentration camps for 4 different concentration camps during the war and was one of the 4% that survived. And then he was a famous doctor that built this theory called logotherapy, which helps guide someone through whether it be depression, anxiety, or so on and so forth. So it's like this very powerful thing for people that are looking for meaning in life. And one of the things that he says is people constantly ask, what is the meaning of life? You'll hear people ask that all the time. But what they should really ask, telling themselves, is life is asking them, what is their meaning in life, right? So it kind of flips it on its head and it talks about the perception and your image and what you're trying to drive for and your meaning is really what's going to ultimately lead to your happiness and sadness. And then it talks about the importance on a day-to-day basis. So it's kind of, I completely understand what you're saying because if you put yourself in Hawaii, and it's the most beautiful place in the world that most people say, but you are in a negative mindset. As soon as you land, you didn't want to go, you're unhappy, there was something that happened. You could learn to hate that place for the rest of your life when 98% of the world loves it, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the mindset.
But you know what? I do definitely agree with that. But also, I'm also kind of more of a realist as well. So let's say a place, let's say not Hawaii, right? Actually, Hawaii is a good example, okay? Most people really like Hawaii, right? And if it's just mindset, we can just choose to look at the good things and we're like, this is paradise.
Yeah.
If you also if you choose to look at the negative things, you can be like, it's super overpriced, super touristy. There's no Uber there.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to get around. Whatever the negatives are.
Yeah.
And you're right, where if we just look at the negatives, we will have this negative mindset, we'll hate the place and we'll just ignore all the beauty. Mm-hmm. Or we can just be super positive and just look at the good stuff and love it. But I think kind of there's always reality, which is weighing the pros and the cons. Are there more downsides than there are upsides? Yeah. And I feel like I'm more of a realist that tries to be optimistic and positive and tries to see the good stuff. Yeah. Where when I go to Hawaii, I'm like, yeah, I know it's expensive. I know there's some downsides to it, but I just try to look at the good stuff. And I know the good stuff outweighs the bad stuff by a ton. Yeah. I think that places like Bali, the negatives, especially if you're here more than a month, for a month, I think the upsides outweigh the downsides. Yeah. Like there's little pain, things that are a little pain in the ass, but it's beautiful. Weather's good. It's a new experience. It's amazing. But when you're here for more than a couple of months and I think the negatives start outweighing the upsides. And I think that's where I am. And I think the people that stay here like long term, I think most of them are just fucking delusional. or they really don't like where they're from at home and they haven't been to other places where like, okay, we can find a place that has more upsides than downsides. Yeah,
and at the same time, they might have built a really strong community that they are involved with, just like we have in Chiang Mai, One of the reasons I love Chiang Mai so much is because of the community, And once you have a solid community, that can really change a lot of the aspects. So if they are living here for 3 or 4 months, they could have one of the best communities that always do yoga events or meditations or working out on the regular basis, go out to eat, like constantly bringing people in and out. That might be one reason as well. I personally still like Chiang Mai a lot more because of my community there. I like this. I've only been here for about a week now. And I like Bali, but I don't see myself being here for more than 6 to 8 weeks at a time.
So what's kind of a bit ironic is I regretted booking my flight to Spain. I actually wish I would have stayed another month because people like you have arrived. Chris is going to stay another month. My buddy Max is here as well.
Yeah.
We have a great community here.
Yeah.
But then what I realized is all of us met in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, it's the Chiang Mai community.
Yeah, we just happened to come here for vacation or because the rest of us were here.
Yeah. Even the people in my villa all are from Chiang Mai, so we kind of just migrated from Chiang Mai during burning season down here, so it's like the Chiang Mai community is moving around.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to go. I know you're probably going to go back a little later this year, but I'm excited to go back to Chiang Mai in October for at least 6 months to grind it out and work. Bali will be fun for a month. I'm going to Malaysia after this for a course, level up, always leveling up. And then to London for work, and then back to the US for a little bit for another conference with Tony Robbins. Big Tony Robbins fan.
Which conference are you going to?
I'm doing Unleash the Power because it's in New York.
Okay.
But the goal is to get and buy Date with Destiny as soon as, because they sell it at that conference for cheaper than they do online.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So the trick is for people that ever are Tony Robbins fans is don't buy any of their courses online other than Unleash the Power. And then when you're in Unleash the Power, they have all the special deals, all the promotions, all the upsells right during the event. So because you're already in the mindset, they know they're going to be able to sell you. They drop a big discount.
So how much is Unleash the Power?
So I had a friend who has gone. So she called her, I think they're called, it's a salesperson with a glorified name.
Yeah.
And we got the class is 3.5 days. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of people for $695, and we got upgraded to like the executive area, which is on the ground floor.
Okay.
So if you wait like for next year, around January they come out with a deal of 2 for 1, so it's like $400 which is really really good.
So I actually want to go to Date with Destiny this year. It's gonna be fun to go together
in Florida.
In Florida,
yeah,
December.
Yeah, that might be a high goal of mine.
But I don't see how I can book tickets.
They're not available yet.
What? When are they going to be available?
After the Unleash the Power.
When is that?
Unleash the Power is July. So they wait until they sell it Unleash the Power, right?
Oh, that makes sense.
And then they open it up to the public.
Okay. So can you if I give you the money, can you buy me a ticket when you're at Unleash the Power?
I can check. Yeah. I'll text you, man.
Okay.
Like, I'll let you know what's going down. They sell the Life Mastery one in Fiji as well as a bundle with Date with Destiny. So
I'm not going to Fiji.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. But I'll send you the information, and if I can, I'll book it for you.
I like it.
Yeah,
that's crazy. All right. So yeah, I'm taking a look at Unleash the Power, and the cheapest seats are $795 online.
Yeah, and that's the basic ones upstairs. What we got is, and if you reach out to someone that's been, they can contact their person. They got us the $695. They took $100 off and then upgraded from whatever the basic one is to the next level.
Okay, so you got the executive.
Yeah.
Which is normally $995.
Yeah. So my friend Derek and I think you know Derek Pankow.
Yeah.
We're going together. He's in New York now. Lives at the Founder.house. I'm working in New York, so we're gonna go together in July.
Nice, I like it. Yeah, and Derek has been on the podcast as well. Let's see what episode that was.
Yeah, he's at Kind Bar right now, man. He took a corporate job. Just for I don't know how long, but he's getting a ton of experience right there in New York, working on his stuff and the corporate gig.
I like it. So Derek's actually been on twice. First on episode 43, where he created a dropshipping store in 3 weeks, which he later sold. Or he actually gave it away to me, and then I gave it to someone else, and that person sold it.
Yeah.
And then he was back on episode 99 when he actually moved to Austin, and he was crushing it on Teespring, making like $30,000 a month from it.
Yeah, man.
And now he's moving on again. Now he's in the startup world, so it's kind of cool that.
Yeah, he's in the startup world because Kind Bar is more of a startup. He has Derek'sMethod.com, which is his travel hacking business, which is what taught me how to travel hack.
Oh, I didn't realize Derek's Method was Derek Pankow's.
Yeah, it's Derek's.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Okay.
He started that, which is a great course. It's saved me a ton of money on flights. And then he's doing Unleash the Power, and then we're working on a couple of projects that we can't talk about yet, but maybe in the future.
Okay.
Maybe we can do a dual podcast at some point.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do it. All right, so my flight takes off in like 2 hours, and we're gonna get some dinner. So
yeah, man.
If people want to get in touch with you or kind of, say what's up, how can they reach you?
EricLafleche.com, or just email me directly at eric@departurelabs or LaflecheEp@gmail.com. Any of those places, feel free to reach out. And
or fleshlight.com.
Oh my God. The beginning of this episode, he was joking about that from the last time we talked. I'm still not, I actually stopped buffing and I'm now cutting. And he had to bring up the fleshlight. Anyways. So feel free to reach out to me at any of those spots.
And if you guys haven't heard the last episode, definitely do it. It was so good. It was episode 135, and that's when Eric talked about quitting his corporate job and kind of getting started in the nomad world. And now, like, can I ask, like, has your income been able to support your travels?
Yeah, I haven't touched any of my bank money at all or my investments.
Wow. Okay.
And since our last episode, I think I've tripled my income. So
that's cool. Awesome.
In like 6 months, and 3 of those months I was in hostels and Airbnbs in South America.
Okay.
So I used a lot of VAs in the Philippines and team members to help me blow up.
What were you making back in your corporate job?
I think I mentioned this on the last one. It was like 150 without bonus.
Okay. And do you think you're going to be able to replace that, or how close are you to replacing that?
Getting there. I think by the end of the year.
That's crazy, right?
It will probably be in a really good spot. And plus, I've been making a lot of investments in altcoin Ethereum, which has blown up. So a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff going on. So I think we'll get there. It's definitely a goal. It's a goal for the end of the year. It's marked down as a goal. That was the original goal. Like after August 14th, 1 year, I wanted to be back to sustainable income that I was at when I was in the corporate job.
I like it. Best of luck with that. And yeah, looking forward to hanging with you more.
Yeah, man.
All right. See all of you guys next week. Thanks to everyone who's taken the time to leave all these amazing 5-star reviews of the podcast. If it wasn't for you guys, like seriously, I don't know how we would continue this every single week. So thanks for telling all of your friends and taking the time to leave these amazing reviews on the podcast. This week, I want to give a shout out to LCD in 2012. Great energy and content. 5 stars. Johnny does an awesome job of really covering how his guests make money while being location independent. So thank you, LCD in 2012. And for everyone else who's left a review. And also, I want to give a big thank you to TripStreak, the smarter travel search, for sponsoring this week's podcast. Next time you guys need to book a flight, whether you guys want to go to Spain or here to Bali, and you want to be able to choose the type of options you want for your flight, whether it's lie flat seats for red-eye flights, check out tripstreak.com/travel-like-a-boss. See all of you guys next week. Peace out. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.